Well, first of all, folks, welcome and thanks for being here. So let me ask you a question. Let's start this out in a different way. How many of you, when you first thought about a career in real estate, you were attracted to, well, the money? You've seen all these commissions that people were making, and you go, oh my gosh, that's more than I make in a month or 2 months or whatever it was, right? And you said, wow, I would love to do that. I mean, I like going in and out of houses. How many guys said that? And then how many of you were attracted going, wow, wouldn't this be cool? I'll be my own boss. I have complete freedom of time. I can do what I want when I want. I'll make good money. And then, oh, heck, because, well, I'm going to take and utilize my real estate license to buy, real estate and build my own portfolio of rentals. How many of you guys thought any of those three things when you first thought about starting a career in real estate? Raise your hand. Let me know which one. And let's go from there. Yep, all three. That's funny. Well, today I'm actually going to show you how you can get that career. Buy and hold. Yep. So what I want to do today is show you the Exp platform that will allow you to take and do exactly what I just outlined. So what I want to do is do a walkthrough of Exp, and there's really three things that I want to talk about today. In order to take and make the most amount of money, you have to have access to the best tools. And I don't know what your level of experience is. Maybe you're experienced now, you have a team, you have a company, whatever that may look like. But no matter what, we need to have great training. Now, maybe you're a successful agent, been doing it 20 years, and you don't need a ton of training, but you've got a team or a company. Well, what if it wasn't you? What if it didn't have to be you, excuse me, that did the training? And then finally, the biggest one to me is time, right? It's the only commodity that us as realtors can control. And so if I have the best of the best tools, I have great training, and I work more efficiently, can we all agree I'd make a lot more money? And so today, that's what I'm going to do, is walk you through that platform, because at the end of the day, guys, innovation is always happening, right? There is no such thing as Blockbuster anymore. It got replaced by a Netflix, and there's no such thing as a Circuit City, or any of these other retailers, because they're getting replaced by Amazon. And Exp came in and looked at the traditional real estate brokerage and said, no, there's a better way to do it with technology. And so at the end of the day, let's talk about what that does. Exp is one brokerage. It is a nationwide brokerage. There is no franchises. There's no regional owners. There's no huge corporate environment involved in that. What that means, folks, is that we have more money to invest back in the agent, because we don't have layers and layers of franchises and regional owners and all that other stuff. There's more money to provide better tools, better training, and more money. And so we need to be aware that it's one big company that operates from the cloud. And you may go, hey, that's cool, but well, how big? Well, currently we have in excess of 16,000 agents in all 50 states across 3 provinces. And you may go, oh, that's really cool. But I want to give you some idea of what that means. It took Coldwell Banker 70 years to get to 10,000 agents. It took Keller Williams 23 years to get to 10,000 agents, and they're the largest real estate company in the world, right? They were the fastest growing before Exp. It took them 23 years to do it. It took us 8. Well, why is that? Well, when we're done with the model today, I think you'll have a good idea of why we have that kind of growth, right? We started in 2009. We were recently uplisted on NASDAQ in late 2018. We're a publicly traded company on NASDAQ with over 16,000 agents across all those states, right? Well, what is it about Exp that makes it different? Well, it's pretty simple. One is, instead of having this huge bureaucracy and all this brick and mortar where all that expense is tied up in paying, right? Because at the end of the day, I hear this all the time. Oh, I have a really beautiful office. Hey, that's great. How much do you pay for it? You go, well, I don't pay anything. Well, yes, you do. You pay it in the form of fees or splits, right? Well, what if there was no brick and mortar, so that we didn't have to do that, so that the agents had access to more of the capital that they bring in? Because, well, let's be honest, folks, as an agent, it's you that's funding the real estate brokerage, isn't it? Well, what if it doesn't have to be that way? What if there's a different way of doing real estate? And there is. And one of the advantages of being a cloud-based company is that we don't have that traditional brick and mortar environment, so that we don't have all the headaches. We can work from anywhere. All I need is a laptop. Heck, I don't even need a laptop. I could do this by phone. And so at the end of the day, that cloud gives us a huge advantage. Now, This is what it looks like. We react as a series of avatars. And I hear people go, hey, that's really cute. It's cool. It's a game. It's right. All that. And it is. It's cool. But that's not really what I care about in the cloud. What I care about is that I can go in and I can get whatever it is that I need from any department that I need at the click of a button. I don't have to get dressed up. I don't have to sit in traffic. And if I need to go to, let's say, a training class, well, I don't have to do that. Well, let's say that takes me, an hour and a half to get dressed and drive in, right? If you're in Southern California, it's, 2 hours to get in. But well, what if I didn't have that? Let's say I picked up an hour and a half and then I pick up another hour and a half because I don't have to drive back home and sit in traffic again. Well, that's 3 hours every time I don't go in the office. So if you go into the office, let's say 2-3 times a week, we just save 6 to 9 hours that you could be spending on what I refer to as RPAs, revenue producing activities. You're calling your leads, you're calling your sphere of influence, you're calling FSBOs, expireds, those kinds of things that generate revenue. You're not sitting in an office. You're not spending all that time driving there. And let's be honest, folks, most of the time in an office, don't you just see people just hanging around talking to each other? Well, I would rather make more money in less time, and I can do that in the cloud. I literally was in the cloud the other day checking on something, and it was about 20 minutes, and the young lady that I was working with just said, hey, it'll be a few minutes. I just went about my business and did all the other work that I was doing until she fixed it. Well, the more time I have to spend on revenue producing activities, the more money I make. So the cloud to me, yeah, it's really cool. But at the end of the day, it's about how much more time does this platform give me to be able to spend to make more money, right? The other thing that I think is really important, because most agents, let's be honest, aren't really tech savvy. We have a real-time support department where if you have troubles with your computer, you can't figure out how to hook things up, you simply click a button, log into the cloud, they can take over your computer and get it done for you. So for those of you that are on the call that go, well, I'm not really tech savvy. Well, can you imagine having your own Geek Squad available to you at the push of a button? That's pretty powerful, right? Then there's over 20 hours of live training every week. And it's not just training by, some broker hasn't sold in 20 years. It's guys like Brad Anderson who created all the Zillow training, or, Brent Gove, or Jonathan Dupree, or Jeff and Marcy Willems, the number 16 agent in the United States, or Darren James, who lists 30 to 50 homes a month, getting on talking about how he lists more properties. But here's the cool part. I don't have to get cleaned up. I can sit there in a pair of shorts and a baseball hat and attend the training, and I didn't have to leave my house to do it. And so it's available to me at the push of a button. However, if you do like to go places, and I actually encourage you to go to different places to work, we have a contract with Regus that you can go and use their office suites. They all have common areas that you can use, and then you can rent, if you wanted a conference room, you could certainly do that. But I recommend that you do that for a simple reason, because at a Regus suite, it's all local business owners. And those are places where, well, you can get business, right? So like Joseph, back in your old days when you worked for a company, how many times did another agent come up to you and go, hey, Joseph, my wife and I are thinking about selling the house. Could you list it for us?
Never.
How about, hey, we're thinking about buying a house. Can you represent us?
Nope. Don't think that'll ever happen.
My question to us as an agent is, why would I ever go someplace where I have absolutely no ability to find business? But yet I could go spend a day and work in a Regus office suite, meet all kinds of local business owners that have employees that go to networking groups, that belong to chambers or associations that are great referral sources. Heck, I could even pick up referral sources to refer to my clients. So I encourage you to do that, and that's all available to us. You can use any Regus suite anywhere in the world, right? Now, when Glenn Sanford started EXP, he said one big thing. Glenn was a tech guy who generated over 60,000 leads a year. And he recognized that EXP had to have the best of the best tools. So, because at the end of the day, guys, if you don't have the best tools, you don't produce like the rest, right? It's one of the reasons that small brokers have a hard time competing for agents in today's environment, because they simply can't afford the best of the best. Because for us, production matters at EXP. We're about closing more transactions. And to give you an idea, a year and a half ago, 18 months ago, this is Charlotte, North Carolina, EXP just started. And a year and a half later, they're the #2 company in Charlotte for production. because that's what's important. How do we help you sell more real estate, right? Now, what he did is he went out and cut a deal with Conversion. Conversion is one of the top 3 real estate platforms in the United States for real estate agents. The best of the best, the biggest of the teams use this, right? And so at the end of the day, it's there for lead generation. We can take and do targeted marketing. We can take and create landing pages that we can send pay-per-click traffic to, Facebook traffic to, any of those kinds of things. And then it has automated CRMs in there to follow up so that I don't have to be sitting around hanging onto my phone. If a lead comes in, they simply get a text message said, hey, sorry, thanks for visiting my website. I'm tied up right now. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And then it starts a series of drip campaigns. Can we agree if you had your business set up like that, you would take and be able to generate more leads if you could create, I don't know, landing pages for, let's say, golf course homes or lakefront homes or oceanfront homes or whatever it is, homes for veterans? Well, you don't do that with the everyday tools in real estate. You've got to have a system like a Conversion. The downside to Conversion is it's $999 setup and $585 a month. At EXP, we get it for $50. So we have access to that. We have a complete marketing and branding department. So all the things that we're not really good at, like for me, I couldn't design a brochure to save my life. I don't have to worry about designing a brochure. We have a marketing department that does it for us. We have a system called Enterprise. And what I teach agents is I coach around the company and do a country and teach classes, is that you have to treat your business like a business. And what that means is I do a ton of calls with agents and say, hey, well, how much did you do in GCI last year? How many transactions? And honestly, folks, about 95% of them don't know the answer to that. Well, if we're a business person, how do we do business like that? And so EXP provides Enterprise that gives us all that information. You can know where you're at the push of a button. At the end of the year, you can print this stuff out and give it to your accountant. And so what it does is it puts a system in place to allow an EXP agent to treat their business like a business, right? We use SkySlope, so everything is done digitally. I could be doing this call from the beach right now and write a contract, and it's all done digitally and stored digitally. Again, it's about time. How much time do I save doing business so I can spend more targeted, focused time on the RPAs, the revenue producing activities, right? We have a workplace in Facebook where it's all only EXP people can see this. And I'll be honest with you folks, I don't go in there for anything except important updates and referrals. Everything else, just me personally, I think those are the big things that we can get tied up in, because the cool part is it's all private. And so we have all these agents in 50 states referring deals back and forth. Right now I've got 2 referrals out where they're out working with buyers in other states that we'll get a referral fee on, all from Workplace, right? Pretty cool. So the important thing to me is how much time do we have? How much tools do we have? But what everybody always gets excited about is the business model. And that's what everybody always wants to talk about. So we're obviously going to cover that. What does that look like? Well, let's talk about the money first, because, well, it's always about the money, right? So EXP has a real simple system. Well, I shouldn't say real simple, but a simple system to understand. Every agent comes in the door at an 80-20 split. They are capped at paying $16,000, meaning once you generate $80,000 in GCI, you've paid $16,000 to EXP. You simply revert to 100% commission, and you pay a $250 transaction fee after that for the remainder of your anniversary year. Now, there's a $149 startup fee. That includes your first month technology fee, your conversion, and some other things. We have a $35 a month EXP University fee. Guys, that pays for the cloud. That's really what it's there for, right? So think of it this way. For $35 a month, I have access to everybody that I need at the push of a button, up to and including a tech support. I've got my own geek squad for $35 a month. We pay the broker $25 per transaction to keep us out of trouble. We pay $40 E&O, capped at $500. So that's pretty simple. Is that what everybody's excited about? Not really. This is what they get excited about. We have a revenue share plan. It's structured very similar to what Keller Williams did with profit share. But the big difference is one is based on profit, one is based on revenue. As business people, because you're all business people, would you rather get paid a piece of the profit or a piece of the revenue? Which one do you guys want? Punch it in the chat box for me. There's about a 30-second delay, so I'll start doing it. You guys want profit or do you want revenue? Off the top or before, after expenses are paid? Which one's better? So let's tell you how it works. If you invite an agent to join EXP, and there's different ways in which we do that, and they join EXP, you can be paid up to 3.5% of the gross commission up to $2,800. So remember the $16,000, the 20% that goes into EXP? Through the revenue share model, EXP is completely willing to pay that $16,000 out to the agents who helped grow the company. So here's what I'd like you to do. Write this one down. Renee, Patricia, Karen, Andy, Bob, Evelyn, write this down. You are compensated for your contribution. The more you contribute to the growth of the company, the more you're going to get paid. So for every agent that you invite to EXP, they come aboard. On that first $80,000, while they're paying 20%, you can earn up to $2,800 of the $16,000 that came into EXP. Pretty cool, right? Now, how does that work? Well, let's say I close a $10,000 transaction today, or let's say Joseph, I invited Joseph to EXP, and Joseph closed a $10,000 transaction this week. On the 22nd of next month, I would have $350 deposited in my bank account, 3.5% of $10,000. Once Joseph reaches $80,000 a year, he goes to 100%. There's no more revenue share to spend, right? It's not there. So pretty powerful. I invite, I don't know, let's say over the next few years, I invite 10 agents. Well, now I got 10 times $2,800 is $28,000. Well, wait a second. I pay $16,000 to hold my real estate license, but I have $28,000 coming in. That means I'm actually getting paid $12,000 to hold my real estate license at EXP? And the answer is yes, it does. But it actually gets even better than that. Because, well, if those agents start to take and invite agents to come aboard, you're going to get paid on that. So here's how it works. You're paid up to $2,800 on tier 1, meaning I invite Joseph to the company and he joins, he closes a $10,000 deal, I get 3.5%. Now Joseph goes out and invites his good friend James Cottrell to join the company. James joins the company. He does $80,000 in GCI. I would actually get paid $3,200 and Joseph would get paid $2,800. And then James goes out and talks to our good friend Jerry Stapp. Jerry comes along, does his $80,000 in GCI. I would be paid $2,000 that year from Jerry, $3,200 from James, and $2,800 from Joseph. And that works 7 tiers deep. But you go, well, wait a second. How would the company stay viable if we paid out all the revenue that came in? Well, in order to take and unlock those tiers, you have to contribute more. So to unlock the second tier of agents, you have to take and personally invite 5 agents. And unlock your third tier, you have to personally invite 10 agents. And fourth tier, 15, so on, up to 40. So the more you help contribute to the growth of the company, the more tiers you unlock, so that if you add all these dollars up, folks, it's $16,000. If over whatever period of time you want to think about it, you take and help us grow by 40 agents and you did that personally, you can collect all $16,000. Pretty cool, right? So, well, what does that look like in real life? What's the real impact of this? Now, I get, I went through a lot of numbers relatively quickly, but here's what I want you to think about, folks. Revenue share can impact your life in different ways. This is me sometime around early December. I fell off a roof in October. I was 100% bedridden for 5 weeks. I could not move. This was the first day that I could go to physical therapy. I promise you cannot tell the pain I was in. But here's the question. If I was an everyday real estate agent, could you work with buyers if you were in this condition? I can tell you, I'm a pretty tough guy. I can't. Could you go on a listing presentation? Folks, here's the big picture. Have you ever thought about what you're going to do to maybe retire? Or what happens if this is you? Now, full disclosure, I did something stupid. I went up on a roof in the rain. What if I got in a car accident? What if you're watching this and you're in a snowy area and you slip on your sidewalk and you broke your hip like I did? At a broken rib, I had 4 broken ribs, a broken hip, broken ankle, broken wrist, a severe brain injury, and a separated shoulder. Could you guys work like that? Well, here's the good news. While I was in the hospital, the 13 days I was in the hospital, my deductible is $7,050. I received just short of $9,000 in revenue share while I was in the hospital. EXP paid my deductible for my stupidity. Well, imagine this, guys. What if your revenue share, what if it wasn't as dramatic as that? What if it was just paying like your credit card payments every month, or maybe your car payment every month, or your, I don't know, your mortgage payment every month? Like Joseph, for you right now, all this is being paid for in your revenue share, isn't it?
Yep, sure is.
Guys, can you imagine what happens to your life when these expenses aren't on you? When all of a sudden that you're bringing in enough revenue share that it makes your mortgage payment, your mortgage free. And all you have to do is invite great agents to EXP. Here's how it works, guys. You do a transaction with an agent. They do a good job. Ask them a real simple question. Hey, have you ever heard of EXP? Are you happy with the amount of money you're making? If you could take and if you had a business plan where 3 to 5 years from now, 80% of your income came from passive activities and 20% from closings, would you want to learn how to do that? Take your pick. I can tell you 10 different things to say. But what we do is, as part of our ongoing transactions, we talk to the good ones. And quite honestly, guys, we don't talk to the bad ones. Can you do that? And if you did, and over whatever period of time you did that, it got your credit cards or car payments or mortgage payments. See, the reason I want to focus on your productivity, because you get more agents to talk to. Now, some of them won't be that great. Some of them will be great. Let's take the great ones and leave the rest for everybody else. Fair enough? So what would that look like? Let's take a look at this for, let's just say, a year. Over a 1-year period, what would this look like for you? Well, let's say that you invited 5 agents to EXP that year, and they all capped. Well, you'd make $14,000 a year, 5 times $2,800. And those agents simply invited 2. Because this is how it works, guys. This is the everyday real impact of how this system works. Well, that would be 10 agents where you'd be paid $3,200 each on it, assuming they cap, which means you would take and bring in $46,000 annually, which means you pay $16,000 because you cap, because we want you to produce, which means you're paid $30,000 a year to hold your real estate license at EXP. So if you're on here going, yeah, Bob, you don't understand. I got a better splitter. I'm 100%. No, you're not 100%. We're like 120, 130, 140%. Because we actually get paid to hold our license at EXP simply for inviting an agent to take a look at a webinar just like this. Can you do that? If you do, it's pretty powerful. So here's the question. Can you talk to 5 agents so you can get $30,000 from your broker instead of paying them? I mean, talking to 5 agents could put you in a position where you earn $30,000 a year instead of paying it to your broker. Let that sink in for a minute. So the other thing is, we are a publicly traded company. We're now traded on NASDAQ. So all of our agents are agent owners, because every time you close a transaction each year, you get shares of stock. If you invite an agent and they close their first transaction, you get awarded stock. Now, here's something that's really cool. It's called the Icon Agent. It allows us to take and attract very high producing agents, teams, and companies. If an agent does $80,000 in GCI plus an additional 20 transactions, or they do $500,000 in GCI, that takes care of all of our folks in California, right? Because you don't need to sell as many houses because of the commission. So you either do 80,000 plus 20 transactions or 500,000 GCI. The $16,000 that you would have paid to EXP is given back to you in the form of stock. Folks, I can tell you we have hundreds of multimillionaires who have been Icon agents over the last few years at EXP. So when I hear people go, oh, the stock, nobody cares about the stock. Well, you know what? I beg to differ with you. We've got over 100 multimillionaire Icon agents at EXP. And then finally, instead of you guys paying some kind of franchise fees like all the big ones do, well, we don't have anything like that. There is no franchise royalty fees, none of it. What we do let you do, though, is set aside 5% of every transaction and buy the stock at a 20% discount. We believe you should be invested in the company. We believe you should be an owner in the company, because guess what? You'll only invite the good ones if you're an owner, won't you? Well, now it's like building a 401k for you. So, hey, if you've ever worked for any of those big companies that had a royalty fee, hey, it's really cool. You're paying to make the owner, money, and make them wealthy. I love the guys who get up on stage and brag about how wealthy they are from the 6% royalties. We don't roll like that, guys. We let you take 5% of your money and buy stock at a 20% discount. Totally optional. It's up to you. So at the end of the day, folks, we believe the value proposition at EXP is so powerful that it would be irresponsible for agents and brokers to hang their license anywhere else. And well, how can I say that? Well, what I'd really like to do is, after going through this, I know it's a very short webinar. I know that I went relatively quick. What I'd like to do is have you jump on a Zoom call, and let's take the income that you made last year and let's overlay it over the EXP model and see which way you make more money. If you make more money at EXP, well, you probably will have a decision to make. If you don't, guess what? At least you know. Here's what I can tell you. I've probably done 150 of these calculator calls, up to and including agents who own their own brokerage and have virtually no expense, and they make more money at EXP. So if you're in the real estate business, folks, because you want to take and earn more money, you want to be able to have more free time, and you want to be able to build up, instead of having to buy rental properties, that, think of it this way, guys, the revenue share plan, think of it like going out and owning 8 or 10 rental properties and paying them off and having rent come in. Well, what if you didn't have to buy the 8 to 10 properties and take 20 to 30 years to do it? Because you could do it in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever speed it is that you want to go to. So what I encourage you to do is get with whoever invited you to this call. Let's schedule a time to do a calculator call, is what I refer to it, and let's take a look at your business plan, your business model, and see which way you'd make more money. And then let's take a look at some of the tools that you use versus what tools you get at EXP, and how much more time you can save so that you can produce at higher levels. But all I want to do is take exactly what you did last year and overlay it on the EXP model and see if you made more money. Fair enough? Now, I know that was a tremendous amount of information in 27 minutes, but I value your time. I encourage you to get with the person that invited you to this call. Let us answer the questions. This video is available where you can go back and watch it over and over and over again. And I'm not trying to purposely go fast. I just know that we got things to do. And so what I'd encourage you to do is get with the person that invited you. What I'd really tell you to do, folks, is you can go to EXP, get with the person that put you on the call, go and apply to join EXP. Doesn't mean you're doing it, just means you're going to apply. What'll happen is the broker is going to do, a background check and look at your license, make sure it's valid. Then they're going to send you the ICA. I would encourage everybody to read the ICA, then take and highlight all the areas that you have questions or you don't understand. Let's answer all of that for you. And then if you decide to join EXP, then we can take the next step from there. But that way you have all the information you need to make an intelligent decision about what's best for you and your family. And so I'd encourage you to do it that way so that there's no stone unturned. We want everybody to be thrilled to be joining EXP. We want everybody to know exactly how it works. And so that would be the best way to do it. You don't have to worry about EXP contacting your broker or anything like that. None of that ever happens. So that would be the best way to take and get all the information that you need to make the best decision for you. So with that, any questions? Joseph, anything that you wanted to add or that I missed?
No, I think that was excellent. I just want everyone to know, when you make that move to EXP Realty, the tools here are going to just help you boost your real estate production. And the best news is, as a producing agent and one who's growing their real estate production, that's how you become very attractive to other agents to want to know, what did you do different? How are things going? So it makes the agent attraction piece very easy. You're just an inviter. You're not a recruiter. You just talk to the agents you're doing business with, show them the model to the, for those that are good, and things just tend to work out really well.
How much more money did you make, not including revenue share? How much more did you produce in your first year at EXP?
It was about 32% more production income my first full year at EXP Realty.
So folks, that's the whole point. We want you to produce at higher levels, make more money, which gives you more opportunity to invite agents. It's that simple. So any questions that I can answer for you folks? And everybody's always hesitant to ask questions on here. Don't be afraid to do it, folks. Get with whoever invited you. Feel free to reach out and touch me. Many of you on the call have my number. Andy, I know you have my number. Karen, you've got my number. So get with whoever invited you. I'm happy to answer all the questions. I'm happy to do a calculator call, and we'd love to work with you. We'd love to have you take and completely change your life, because it is a life-changing event, isn't it, Joseph?
It most certainly is. Yep.
And I'd say the coolest part, folks, I have friends from all over the United States and Canada. When I fell and got hurt, I was getting calls, cards from people all over the United States. It's not like just some little office. I have relationships. I'm going to spend the month of March in California working with all of our agents out there to teach them how to produce better and take listings and do all those things. And what other company does that? I'm incentivized financially to take and help my agents. So that's what we do. So thanks so much for being here, folks. Again, get with whoever invited you. I appreciate you taking the time. Hope you look at it more seriously, and we'll talk to you soon.